Hey everyone, in today's video I want to share with you a cool new asset pack I just launched on the Unreal Marketplace called Lava Rock. It's a cool collection of lava rocks that were photo scanned in. They were collected here in New Mexico, and I put together a collection of rocks, some ground scans, and some other cool textures. I'm going to show you an overview of everything that comes with the asset pack and some of the sample maps, including a really cool cinematic map that gets included with it. So let's get started. All right, so once you've added into your project using the Epic Launcher, you will be greeted with this Lava Rocks folder here. And inside there, let's hop into our Maps folder, and we're going to open up the Overview map, which is this map that you see here. This Overview map is going to show you all the different assets that come with the asset pack. So let's take a look down here. I'm going to press G to hide some of this. So this is the actual collection of lava rocks that were collected from the area, brought into studio, and then photo scanned under controlled lighting so we could get the best textures and stuff out of it. And you can see we have a dozen different stones here, and they are super detailed, super high poly. Each one of these is roughly 100+ K polys or so on each one. Each one comes with nice high-res 8K resolution textures for your diffuse, roughness, and normal map. And I've also included a detail normal map that is generated based off of the diffuse map. So these here you can see are nice high poly, already nanite enabled. So if we switch on over here to wireframe, I can show you. You can see how dense each one of these individual stones really is. And of course, because they're nanited, they will adjust on the fly for you, which is pretty awesome. Also included here is a set of low poly versions, or lower poly versions. These are running about 25K or so. So if I switch on over to wireframe, you can see they're not quite as dense as the high poly versions, but they still look pretty good. These are basically just decimated versions of the actual ones here. Next here we have our ground scans. So these are some larger areas of ground pieces and boulders that were scanned in. Also, these were done on location using a strobe light to help get even lighting throughout the scene. And these you can see here are pretty fun, pretty nice little detailed larger lava rock areas and a small little cliff or overhang piece here. Let's switch on over to the wireframe. You can see these are all nice high poly dense nanite enabled models. Also, you will also get a low poly version, about 50K on each one of those, and the high poly runs run about 200K or so. And last but not least of the assets included, you get a selection of 3 different ground planes. These are some base textures that are similar to that style in that area, but these are not necessarily photo scanned ones, but they look pretty good. They're pretty nice. These ground planes have all been displaced and tessellated already, basically, and they include nanite enabled already, and they're fairly high poly for good detail also. Next, let's go ahead and hop into our content browser again, and we're going to be under our maps folder here, and I'm going to do the showcase map next here. So the showcase map is a pretty cool little showcase map that shows off the rocks under some cool lighting and also includes a actual animated sequence. So if we go into our demo folder here, and you can see we have 2 sequences here. We have a sample level sequence and a showcase level sequence. We're going to open up the showcase level sequence, and let's go ahead and just dock this down below and bring this down, and let's hop into our main camera cuts track here. And you can see we have this really cool setup here with the lava rock setup, and we have some animated red lights from underneath to kind of help represent a lava flow. And if we come in here and we press play, you'll see it does do a really cool animation here. I'll set this up on full screen on the video so you guys can see how cool it looks in detail. And this is included with the actual pack. And there's not much to it. It's just a really cool sequence of animations that are included, and a really cool way that shows off the cool rocks and everything that are there and how detailed they really are. And under some really cool lighting, they will look super nice. Again, let's hop into our content browser here, and we're going to go back to our maps, and we're going to open up the last map here called Sample Map. And this is going to take just a few seconds to load here, and you'll be greeted with this. This is a basically a procedurally generated example map, kind of a small cinematic level that I put together just for including it in the project. So if you guys choose to, you could use this in a short little cinematic. I wouldn't try to use this as a playable map as it's super high poly, and this is actually using all the high poly versions of all the meshes. And so it is pretty heavy. It's all nanited, so it does run pretty well depending on your hardware. But for cinematics, this could look super, super cool. So if you need to build out like a small little cinematic scene between some characters or something here, this would be a really cool map to get started with. So I'll zoom out here so you can see it has these really cool kind of alien looking overhangs, these stacks. So all these stacks were procedurally generated and stacked on top of each other using the different stones and rocks that are included in the asset pack. And you can see the walls and barriers, basically where the ground scans that I use to do that also. And I'm sure you've noticed there is a bit of lava down here at the bottom. So the lava is just a pretty simple material that I've included so that you can take a look and kind of add it in there. It does have two flows in there of lava flows to give it a little bit of animated. You can always change this and increase the flow if you want it to move faster or slower. We'll talk more about the material here in just a little bit, but for now I'm going to go ahead and hide that just so you can take a look at the actual full scene here. So it's a pretty good size for a cinematic, and like the other map, this also includes a sequencer also. So let's go back to our demo folder here, and we're going to open up the sequencer for the sample map. I'm going to go ahead and lock my camera to the camera cuts track and press play, and you can see we have this pretty cool animated shot. It's going to go through a couple different shots here. It's animating the sun over top so you can see how it casts different light in the scene, some volumetric fog and so forth. And this is all done in real time in Lumen, and it looks really, really good. This also is fully working for path tracing and stuff. So if you decided you wanted to switch over to path tracing, you can do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything that comes in the asset pack, and we'll take a closer look at some of the objects and materials that are included. So let's hop into our content browser here, and you'll see under the main LavaRocks folder here, you have a demo folder. The demo folder basically includes the animated material texture for the light of the other showcase level, where it looks like the lava is animated underneath it. It includes a ground plane, which you can see is actually used here in the sample map here. This is one large displaced high tessellation ground plane. Next, we also have your two sequences here that you can use for both the sample and showcase map. And there's also a camera shake there that is included as part of the sample level cinematics. Next, let's take a look. Under our maps folder here, we have our 3 maps, our overview, which just shows all the assets, our sample map, which is this one here, which is a sample cinematic scene, and then our showcase map, which is a close-up shot of the individual stones with some really cool lighting. Next, we have materials here. So all of the rocks come with their own material instance, and they are all built off of a really nice customizable master material. So let's take a quick look at one of these material instances here. If we hop in, you can see we get tons of nice little options here for diffuse and albedo. So we have diffuse power, which could be your brightness and darkness. We have hue shift. So if you want to shift the color a little bit of it, you can do contrast adjustment. You can do saturation adjustment. You also have your metallic and specular adjustment there. You can also do a color tint. So if you wanted to overlay a color tint on top, you can do that with color tint power. And we also have a sharpen in there using unsharp mask. We also have a dirt layer, so you can enable that, and that uses a dirt or snow layer that you can apply on top of that. There's tons of adjustments there as the texture, the color, power, hue shift, all that same stuff that you get in the diffuse, but for a textured layer on top that gives you like a snow or dirt look. And under normals, we have our basic normal map, which is from the actual Photoscan. And then we have a detailed normal map, which comes generated from the diffuse map here. So 2 different normal maps. You can always turn one off if you don't want it. And you can adjust the power of those there. And last but not least is the roughness. This is a roughness map that is built based off of the Photoscan. and you can adjust the actual roughness value there. And if you decide, you can remove the actual texture also. So all of the individual rock scans, ground scans, and just the ground planes all come based off that great master material, which has a lot of fun, good options in there to help customize, get the stuff to match in your scene. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at the Magma material here. So I'm going to open up the material instance, and you can see we are greeted with a ton of really good options here also. So under general, we have emissive power, metallic, roughness, specular. Basically, you have two different flows of textures that kind of can flow in different directions, kind of give you a different look. So you have the Magma Flow 1, and it has options like how much do you want to blend between 1 and 2? Next, you have the flow speed for X direction and the flow speed for Y direction. You also have a tiling variation, so you can tile the X and Y differently if you choose to, and a normal map power there also. And of course, you get all those same options for Magma Flow 2. And then under displacement, we're actually using world position offset to create some displacement so that it doesn't look just like a flat plane. This is pretty cheap to do and it's easy to adjust. So you get your displacement amount by basically how tall or thick the displacement will be happening. And you get the same options of panning speed left and right, or X and Y, also the tiling amount if you want to change that. And then last but not least, we have edge fade. And edge fade basically is using the depth fade node to blend that slightly into any intersecting objects in your scene. So with lava, you probably don't want to have this fade too much, as lava is not really going to fade out kind of like water does. It's going to more or less meet it. But by providing that little bit of edge fade there, it looks pretty cool, because if I turn the lava back on, you can see here right around the edges, it kind of gets this cool red glowing effect where it's touching the rock. So very quickly, under the materials folder here, all of your main material instances and master material for all of the actual scanned items and the lava are all located here. And under the ground planes is the material instances for the ground plane materials. Next, let's head back and let's go to our meshes folder. In the meshes folder here, all of your primary meshes are all the high poly nanited versions here. This includes all your individual rocks and your ground scans. Under the ground planes, we'll give you the high poly versions of the ground planes, including a magma plane. Also, if you hop back and go back to low poly, these would be the lower poly versions of the rocks and the ground scans. If I go ahead and open up one of these lava rocks here and dock it in, you can take a quick look and we can see how detailed and nice these actually are. Let's slow that camera down just a little bit. You can see these are super nice, super detailed, really, really good. The textures are great. As I mentioned, 8K resolution on each of these here. And they just look really, really cool. They're very unique. These are actually from a volcano that erupted many years ago here in the Grants area of New Mexico. So it's very, very cool. Next, let's hop back into our content browser one last time here, and we can hop on over to our textures. Under the textures folder here, the main folder is going to contain all of your primary textures for all of the lava rocks and ground scans. And like I said, this includes your diffuse, a normal map, a detail normal map, and a roughness texture for all of these different ones here for each one of your scanned in items. Under default, we have some default textures here like black, white, gray, the dirt texture, and a blank normal map. And under the ground, we have the actual ground plane textures. So these aren't the ground scans, these are the ground planes. These come with a diffuse, a height map, a ground normal map, roughness. So you get those there included. And under magma, these are your textures for the magma. There is a diffuse map, a normal map, and then we have two noise maps basically that are used to generate the actual world position offset or displacement. So there you have it. This is my lava rock asset pack on the Unreal Marketplace and on ArtStation. So make sure you check it out, see what you guys think about it. I've spent quite a bit of time working on this one, not only going out and collecting the stones and everything to Photoscan. I went out and Photoscanned on location. It was actually really, really cool. Actually pretty dangerous. This stuff is actually really, really sharp and jagged, but a lot of fun. It's a really cool rock. I've used it actually in some of my scenes. I'm gonna toss those up here on the screen real quick. This was a cool render that I put together using only 4 of those rocks before I had done the full photo scan of all of them. And you could see how something like this would work for your project. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Thank you guys for all of the support that you've been doing. I have set up a Patreon, and I get it. Everybody wants money these days, but your support really means a lot. And you guys can hop into the Patreon, and you know what? You can actually get a sample pack of this by signing up for one of the tiers in the actual Patreon. I give away sample packs of like about 4 or so rocks of each of my photo scanned asset packs. It's a great way to kind of dip your toes into some of the cool stuff that I'm working on, get to see some stuff early, and you know, anytime I'm doing some cool custom materials and shaders, things like that, you get access to those as part of being a paid Patreon member. You can also join for free too, and just be a part of it and help support and so forth. You can always ask questions. I really appreciate it. Make sure you check it out. I'll leave the links down in the description for the marketplace and ArtStation and everything. Also, there is a product page on my website, which is createunreal.com. Make sure you check that out if you haven't checked that out already. It's a really cool site with a lot of resources and things that I've been putting together and catering, specifically curating them for people who want to create cool artwork and cinematics in Unreal Engine. So make sure you check that out. There would be a product page there full of all the details and information for this asset pack, as well as all of my other asset packs. So thank you again. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and like button. This year is 2024, and I am looking to grow this YouTube channel, grow the Patreon, and grow my community of people who are wanting to make awesome stuff together in Unreal Engine. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, bell notification, all that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. Let's grow this channel. I think I hit just under about 3,000 this year, and I would love to hit 10,000 by the end of this next year, if not more. So thank you again, and we will see you later. Peace out.